Hey everyone, Kate Boer and Fiona Pearman joining you for this week's Facebook Live as we close out the conversation that we've been having on congruence and alignment. And today we want to talk about this as a leadership skill. And I think it's an interesting one, Fee, when we think about it in context of the organisation, because people often think this lack of alignment or incongruence is something that you can't see, it doesn't matter. That's why it's so easy to kind of be in a situation where maybe we don't speak up when we see something that doesn't feel right. But I think the really important thing to think about is that people feel this, right? We sense it. When someone is authentic and congruent, in alignment, you see it, you feel it. It impacts us as individuals who are following leaders. It impacts us as leaders in terms of how we show up and the conviction that we have as well. And so this really is such a critical one when we think about creating great leaders in organizations.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that organizations go about in terms of, defining values and talking about leadership qualities that are important. And, this piece about authentic leadership comes up all the time. And what we've seen is in order to be an authentic leader, we really need to be confident, have that conviction, show up and do it. And we need to be congruent, because every time we let something slide, every time we don't catch something that's important, or we don't speak up a truth that's important to us, inside it feels a bit murky. It feels out of integrity with ourselves. And as you mentioned, other people notice it. Other people have a sense of that. And so not only do they not know whether they can trust us or not, they also don't know if it's okay to be truthful themselves.
Yeah, I think this role modeling is really critical. And I think the truth for most leaders is absolutely there's times when maybe I'm out of alignment and incongruent. Our ability to dig into that, to really start to understand what's going on for us, to build some self-awareness around those places where potentially I'm out of alignment or incongruent, to understand and reconcile. That's why active confidence number one, get clear, is so powerful, right? Because sometimes just clarity can do one of two things, can allow us to make a new decision, or can allow us to lead into acceptance, right? But both of those places is a far more empowering state than staying in confusion and pushing it down and ignoring it. And so the challenge, of course, is all of that takes time. All of it, most of it, is often a little bit uncomfortable, right? Because we actually have to reconcile some stuff that's going on underneath the surface.
And I think this is where the work is for leaders, is starting to have that level of self-awareness to notice when something's not sitting right, when it's not, when we are out of alignment. The more we accept and notice the incongruence in us, the more likely we are to take an action. And it's not going to be the first time we do this. We may not take the action every single time. Like, we're big ones for being compassionate with ourselves, but the noticing allows us to see what's going on and to be honest with ourselves about, yep, I'm going to step in here. Maybe I'm going to hold back in this instance. But that's a distinguishing feature. And I think every time a leader does this, every time someone does make the comment, catches something, speaks up with a different perspective that's counter to the potential groupthink, other people are noticing. If you're a leader in an organization, other people see and experience that. And suddenly you've made it okay for others, and you've given them permission that they too can do something that perhaps feels a bit uncomfortable, but they would like to be able to contribute in a certain way. They would like to speak up.
Yeah, and I think that talks to the second piece, right? In terms of our role as leaders, is obviously start with ourselves first, but then secondly, are you creating the environment and culture where your team members, your colleagues are able to, speak into their truth, right? To recognize and develop awareness around perhaps where they're out of alignment or where they're incongruent, and actually start to, in a safe place, be able to unpack that and dialogue, particularly with our direct reports, with their own leader around it.
I mean, this is so powerful, because when we do this, we start to hold containers within the organization where it is possible to truly live those organizational values, where, we talk about collaboration all the time, but we've got to create the environment where that's possible. And these are the actions that mean that that will happen. I mean, Kate, we do a lot of work with all sorts of organizations, and we notice this is the X factor for cultures that are truly incredible, that are really resonant, and they're attracting people in. People want to be part of it. People feel that they can truly contribute, and I think that's the exciting things for organisations here. As individual leaders, we start there, but the ripple effect is really powerful of this.
Yeah, and I think most organisations, if they really lean into the truth about their values and the truth of whether the organisational culture is living and breathing those values, in most organisations, there is a relatively big gap. And so this is actually empowering our leaders to be able to close that gap, to model it, and then to facilitate conversations in environments where all of our employees can really lean into those values, can call out where there are gaps and where there is behaviour that's not in alignment with those values, and equally have the power to really step in and bring that culture to life. And to your point, absolutely X factor when it comes to organisations. All right, we're going to leave it there. If you've enjoyed today's confidence conversation, we'd love for you to share comments below. And of course, share this with a colleague, a friend who you think might benefit from it. Head over to our Facebook page. You'll be able to dig into a whole bunch of great content. We've been doing this now for years. So many good conversations that we've been having this month about congruence and alignment, and also obviously other conversations more broadly. And if and when you're ready to go deeper with your relationship with core confidence, visit our website, coreconfidence.com.au.